You don't have the CV, do you?
All right. So that's what you want to talk about. You're going to bring that up. I am not happy now.
Well, let's put it this way. Ever since I saw the Trump rally in Tulsa, the video of that, Trump doesn't call it COVID-19 or coronavirus. He calls it the CV, and CV stands for the China virus.
Good for him.
I know. I think I like that now. So I've stopped calling it everything else, and I'll just call it the CV. Then people say, "Oh, you mean coronavirus?" I said, "No, the China virus," because that's what it is. So.
Well, I am not happy because the governor of this conservative state of Texas.
Good, cool. Let's talk about that.
You know what he did? He on the CV virus, he drank the Kool-Aid or something, because when I was traveling to Nebraska, Kansas was pretty close, by the way. I was like, oh my goodness. And I was like, whoo, I'm from the state of Texas. We have a little bit more sense than this, because Kansas was so closed down. And then I got to Nebraska and it was a little bit better than Kansas. And then I come home, or no, I get a message from my son and he says, Mom, our Governor Abbott's going to make us start wearing masks because there's a spike. Well, if you're going to test everybody and their dog, there's going to be a spike of false positives. And of course, then they do the multiplication factor of 16 because they ask you, who do you know? And then they put down that everybody has the CV virus that you gave them, even though they don't test them. Anyway, their multiplication factor is such a joke. People, this is a joke. Anyway, so I come home and I find that my state's being stupid, that our governor is making us wear masks. Well, let me tell you what my husband did. Where's your oh yeah, his mask isn't here. So go get your mask. Real quick. You go get your mask. I want you to demonstrate how we're going to wear our mask, because people, we don't need to wear masks. It is like use it. It is, even doctors and nurses will tell you that there is in no way that a virus cannot be blocked out by those masks. And even surgical masks are meant to be worn for 30 minutes. Go. Keep going. So you're going to get yours. So they're meant and then changed out. And it doesn't prevent anything from coming out. It might prevent particles from coming in, but nothing from coming out. And then on top of that, OSHA has brought out a report that says cloth masks are terrible. Remember, when you breathe out, you're removing waste from your body, and mold and other things build up in the cloth mask. They do more harm than good. They lower your immune system when you wear a mask, because you need to be out there breathing fresh air. You need to be breathing. Masks do nothing. John has a saying, and when he comes in here, I'm going to have him say it. Guys, do not drink the Kool-Aid. Wearing a mask is stupid, dumb, and it's harmful to you. Okay, here we go. Hold on. No, you got to.
Hi.
I wear my mask too.
Look at this.
I got my mask on too. Yeah, that's a good one, John. I like it. Yeah.
So, you know what he did yesterday? Because it's mandated in the state of Texas, you wear them everywhere right now because of the spike. Wait. I want you to
wait. No, he can't go. He needs to come back. We got to talk.
What is it that you say? Wearing a mask is like.
It's like putting up a chain link fence around your yard to keep the mosquitoes out.
I get it. I'm with you.
I mean, that's so whatever this, the little micro fragments of this thing that they call CV.
CV. Yeah.
Yeah. So this isn't going to help you. This is called virtue signaling. Virtue.
What does that mean?
It means I'm a good person. I'm not intending to infect you. It means, look how good of a person I am because I'm thinking about your best interest.
Of course. Yeah, that's right.
That's what this means, because it has no
value.
It has no science to it. It has nothing. The only thing it's going to do is collect your spittle so that it can breed and incubate
Disease.
particles, and disease, and bacteria that you can breathe
That you
back
can
in.
breathe back in.
Yeah.
Even doctors and nurses have given reports. The masks do nothing. Yet what do we see? It's a social test to see if everybody will comply and who are those that won't comply. So who are those that we need to remove from society? Guys,
It's just that it's a slippery slope, because the next thing will be, well, if you don't want to wear a mask anymore, then you're going to need to get the vaccine, and then you're going to get the vaccine. You can participate in society, and you can participate with your own bank account, and all that. And
there was a question posed on one interview show. Somebody from our congregation brought it up, and the question was posed: should we cover people's hair, facial and hair? So should we start requiring people to cover their hair because of CB? Now, what does this symbolize? Now, imagine my hair covered.
Okay.
What does this look like? Okay, and I have a black all around me. What does that look like?
Sharia.
Yeah, it looks like a burqa.
My Sharia.
Okay. Okay. Now,
Knack, man.
I need from now on. I need both of you guys to take Wednesdays off so you can come on my Constitution show, because we're refining these things and let's understand these things, because when I got my email from my representative, which I get every day, and he keeps us updated on everything like that, and they used the paragraph and told us about the governor mandating, the governor requiring, and then the governor gives an executive order. Okay. Now, I have to tell you, I personally don't understand what it means by the governor's executive order. Okay. What does this mean? Because I know that, yes, we have constitutional law, and yes, we have state laws, but can the governor make a law? Absolutely not. He can get an executive order. He can give an executive order, but it is like the first two words. He mandates it, which just means that it's a huge suggestion and it's a requirement, meaning it's just a huge suggestion, but it cannot be enforced by law enforcement agencies, because it is not a law whatsoever at all. There is a very formal process, even in the states, each individual state, that if you want to make a state law, there's a very formal process you have to go through to get all that done. And just because the president has declared an emergency in the United States, which there has, and rightfully so, I get that. But because the United States is full of fear, you need to have an emergency executive order there. But the governor's executive order is not law. So
they're going to fine you $250 every time they catch you without one.
Yeah.
Well, you can go to court and fight that, and they can't uphold that, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Not in the state of North Carolina, but the key to who's gonna arrest you, by the way, because it's not a law.
Well, they're going to write a ticket. It's basically what it is. They're going to write a ticket in Texas for not wearing a mask, just like they would for not wearing a seatbelt.
It demonstrates your other mask wearing.
Oh yeah,
But
you have to have a mask to go into a store. So I went in like that one time.
your other thing, which is totally enforceable, is the fact that all businesses have the right to refuse service to anyone they want without a reason. So if you go in and they require you to wear a mask, they can refuse that service. What can't be done is a person shopping in that business telling you that it's a law, you have to have that mask on. You're offending me, you got to have it. They can't do that. It doesn't work that way. And so this is what I found out. This is my research on this. This is something we covered in, and I do have up on the website, I have a new segment from that show that talks about government executive orders. Anything I've missed on that, John, about governor executive orders? I mean, writing a ticket is a local thing that can be dismissed by the court. Okay. And so, and you know, too, if you look at that executive order, it also has, what I want to say, there's things in there, stipulations about if you can't be 6 feet apart, if you can't do social distancing. It doesn't mean that you have to wear that mask. It's only in situations where you can't be social distancing. And most of the people that aren't social distancing are the people wearing masks, which they should anyway. So yeah.
You know, what I think is also noted is that right now in the state of Texas, you know, our state legislature only meets every 2 years. Well, this is an off year. But I really think that our state representatives and state senators need to be in on it, because this mandate goes beyond what science is. It goes beyond the facts. It's simply to control. It's a psychological operation that's taken us down this road. And I really believe that our state representatives need to get an earful, so that if they have to have an emergency meeting, they can do that. They can call an emergency session to bring this before the state, because one, like you said, we can probably fight that $250 in court, but it takes money. It takes money to fight the 250. Right. So, so unless you're able to go in and represent yourself with some type of success, then, you know, it could be.
It's a vicious circle. It's called the circle of life.
Yeah. Right. And so contacting our state representatives, and in fact, I'm going to contact John Smithy, who is ours, today, and give him an earful. And let him know that he needs to put his influence. He's been in there for such a long time. He should have some type of influence in the state legislature, and some pressure on the governor to say, governor, to back off the $250 and
back
all
off
that
the
stuff.
mask thing, and put some read the science on the mask,
and stop this excess counting that's causing the numbers to inflate when there's not. You know, if you actually take the real numbers and divide it by the 16, they multiply, like one day. You took that 1 day count, it was only maybe 380 new cases, which means it's flat. The scale is flat. It means that there's really no increases and that there's really nothing there. And it's also showing that there's not an increase of death rate either. So therefore, this virus is practically harmless, except for those that have the morbidity issues, the elderly, those people that have a compromised immune system, just like the annual flu
or the cold,
and so.
But even that, most of these cases, people are at home and it's mild. It's nothing. It's like cold. It's the flu. Now, yeah, some are affected, but people need to remember that government is supposed to be of the people, by the people, and for the people. So if all the people, the majority of people in your state that are contacting you are saying, stop doing this, shouldn't you do by the people?
Yeah, Governor Abbott, you represent us, and you're not representing us right now. And, you know, that's how we need to look at it.
And since we're already using time, we're going to do things topsy-turvy, because I want this to go into my article today. What I was going to talk about was how now they're taking it so far as California says, no more worship, no more singing in churches or in congregations. Come on. See how far they're pushing it? And we've always known that there's persecution. I didn't want you to leave on this. I wanted you to stay. That's why I brought you
Oh, sorry.
Since you were here, I was bringing that out so you would stay for just a minute or two.
My legs are getting.
Besides, it is your show, so stay on your show for a minute or two. Mark, wear your mask. It's mandated. Everybody wear masks on.
But if you're preaching or broadcasting, you don't have to wear a mask.
Can't see you.
I know, but my legs are sore.
Here, you take this, and I'll stand.
No, you're fine.
By the way, I'm not really giving anybody the finger. I just don't have an index finger to hold my mask.
But think about this, guys. We've always known there's going to be persecution for believers. It says that there will be in the end days. But Governor Gavin Newsom ordered churches not to sing and worship. And is there anything worse you could do? Because that gives glory to him. That's how he's Yah's enthroned. And we've got to wake up to the sad truth that California has declared war basically on the church, on those that are called themselves believers, because they've been aggressively oppressing Christians in California long before the COVID thing came out. But what happens in California has this tendency to leak and spread throughout the country. It's like a disease, guys. So we're supposed to obey what the word says and not what man says. But California is really trying to turn everything against those that believe. And that really goes against, or saying that California is trying to expose and silence those with a voice of truth, those that will speak up and to the truth of what's going on, that won't fall in line with the system, that won't just comply with everything, like that be a zombie, that those that they're beyond zombies, that you're going to find those people who aren't going to be zombies to what the world says in congregations, in churches. So California Governor Gavin Newsom, when he outlined the guidelines of no worship, no singing, no chanting, whatever, because of CV, guys, again, if people don't react to this, more rights are being taken every day away from you, and you'll be limited to doing nothing. This country will be worse than any country we've ever imagined, because we just sit there and I'll put on my mask without saying a word. Okay, I'll stop singing. Okay, I'll stop gathering. You do that, you've lost everything.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It really has to do with this, if you want to boil it down to, look at the laws and the direction that they've come from the governors, from the CDC, from the WHO, all those edicts. And you look at it, they're taking away everything that actually builds the immune system, bolsters the immune system. They talk nothing about taking zinc, vitamin D3, vitamin K2, vitamin C. They talk nothing about natural remedies to bolster the immune system. So you can really see that, but what they want to do is they want to push the remdesivir, which costs $4,500 for a prescription on that, as opposed to hydroxychloroquine, which is like pennies on the dollar for a round of that actually has been proven to destroy the CV, along with zinc. And remdesivir has a very small, like 8% success rate. I mean, it's very, very low, very, very expensive. But nevertheless, and it's an AIDS drug. The other thing is that they don't want you to go into the beach. They don't want you to gather in the parks. They don't want you to go anywhere where you're going to get sunlight, get fresh air, because that bolsters
Kills
the immune
virus.
system. So you take it back to Sandy's article there. And what is one of the things that bolsters one's immune system? It's when you come and you gather in worship. And when you sing, it brings in the presence of God. And in his presence, it pushes out, literally, it bolsters your immune system. It causes, people can be healed just in the middle of a worship service.
We've had people healed during worship. You know how powerful worship is, Mark. You understand.
Yeah,
Get it. To
I
silence
know, but
that.
go in public and say you hear the voice of God. What do people think of you?
You're crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy. That's exactly right. You're crazy. So why should it be any different that when you're praising God, you're talking to God, and you're saying you're hearing from God? You're crazy. So why should they even acknowledge any of that at all? I mean, it literally, the world has already deemed us crazy anyway, so we don't have a voice. We have nothing to say. It makes no difference. We are not a valuable asset to this country as far as they're concerned. We used to be, but we are no longer, because the people that are voted in are not voted in based on the fact that they are they hear from God. You know, it's all there is to it.
Well, and you have to understand that in this whole process of the CV, it's really related to a Luciferian agenda.
Sure.
Because the whole point is it's about control. It's about controlling the masses. It's about the establishment of a one world system that controls all of the nations of the world. One size fits all, and it's about silencing all other voices so that there's only one voice that can be heard, and that's their voice. That's that Luciferian voice that's being echoed in the world. And so what is one of the biggest voices that counteracts that? Well, it's those of believers, those who will speak forth the truth, those that will sing the words of truth, because there is power in the unison of our voices, which is actually taken in many of the worship songs, is the word of God being spoken back to him. He's given us his word, and those are put into songs that we're singing back to him. And so that is really powerful, because his word does not return to him void. And when it does not return to him void, it means that it's a continuous cycle. It's the cycle. That's what in the Hebraic heritage of our faith is about these cycles of things. And it is restoring his word into the earth, which was his voice that went forth in Genesis chapter 1 that took,
he sunk,
which caused, which brought order out of chaos. And see, they want to bring their order out of chaos. They want to bring in their agenda, and chaos. So they create the chaos so that it is only their voice that people are going to be listening to, and that's the silencing of our voices within our congregations is the very goal. And so, all the more reason, I do not bow to Caesar. I will not bow to Caesar when it conflicts with the word of God.
No, and that Dina Dye, I need to do something on that. Dina Dye was telling us we are never supposed to, we've misunderstood what it means to give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar. And I'll have to do a teaching on that, maybe on walking one of these days.
Sure.
But we have misunderstood that has been utilized to give the excuses. Well, we need to obey the government.
The Romans 13 thing where you got to obey the government. That's being a good believer, is you obey the government. No, that's not what that word says. It's not what that Paul was talking about there.
But that's a whole nother.
Yeah, that's a whole nother subject.
Interesting. It all comes around. My biggest fear, I think, is that they're going to stop wrestling, because there is a lot of interaction in wrestling and everything, and
man,
we just don't want wrestling to stop at all.
There's all.
What I still don't understand. I know you guys are making, I agree. That's funny.
But no,
literally,
it's the point. It's the point that he's making is this is how ridiculous.
But isn't it ridiculous that it is okay to riot in great numbers, be close, you can do whatever you want, but it's not okay to gather for the word. It's not okay to gather peaceful protest. It's not okay to gather in any other place or any other way. You can gather and destroy your community and speak vile things, and there's nothing wrong. You don't have to wear a mask, you don't have to social distance, but in anything else you have to. Come on.
And this happened in the state of Texas. This was Sunday before so the week before the requirement to wear masks in Texas, that there was a rally at the state capitol in Austin, and it was about the very thing about wearing masks. And because in Austin, they've been a little bit more draconian because they're a very liberal city.
Austin's the liberal place.
And so they gathered and they had this protest, and it was basically it wasn't really so much the protest as the demonstration about let's speak the truth about the CV, the Chinese virus. And so they gathered, and then they were going to march over to they're at the Capitol. They're going to march over to the governor's mansion, and the state police and they called out the National Guard and the state police, and they were not violent. They were just simply making a point, but they were shut down. They couldn't protest. They couldn't march. But Austin has been lit on fire because Antifa and Black Lives Matter and all that. And that was okay. And they let that happen and let those businesses be destroyed. And they let those lives, many people hurt. They let that happen. Yeah. And this is a peaceful demonstration where they're just saying, guys, we're not going to take your pseudoscience. We're not going to let that rule our lives. And yet they were the ones that were shut down. And they said, well, okay, we're going to comply because we're not that type of people like the Black Lives Matter people that are out there maiming and killing people and destroying property.
Well, many clothing stores aren't allowed to open because they're not essentials, but tattoo parlors are essential.
Yeah.
Everybody's essential, and every job is essential.
Everybody.
Because that's what keeps your livelihood going.
That's right.
And folks, if you're listening, every job and every business is essential, and every congregation is essential.
Right.
Well, that's, we just sort of slid right into the news. So.
It's got to happen. It's got to happen. It's who we are. So nice to see John's face.
Thank you for joining your show.
And there's the few couple of things right there on the top. Yep. What do they call it? The Craig cover or Craig?
They got me. I didn't say anything.
Yes,
I didn't say anything about it. So
what did you call it? The Craig. I forgot now. Craig.
I didn't talk about John. So. Yeah.
All right.
Well,
get on out of here.
There's a certain tradition within the Craig men that I'm maintaining.
Well, I never really have ever trusted anybody with two first names anyway. So, it's one of those things.
I have 3 first names.
I don't doubt you do, I didn't want to bring that up because that's even worse.
John Lee Craig.
Yeah, see, well, now it's funny because actually your middle name is mostly used as a last name. And so when you start mixing these names up, I think there is an actual Torah law against doing that. But yet we're going to leave it alone, John. We're just going to leave it alone. And
well, I just want you to know that there are a lot of people. The last name's Lee, but I do not have any Asian blood in me. I have a lot of other mixed blood, but I'm
okay.
Okay, just so you know.
Well, if you don't mind leaving, so we can talk about you. Oh, or at least I will. There we go. All right. So it was really nice having John here with us today. So.
See you guys.
All righty then.
Love you, man. Big time.
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussion, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the MessianicLambRadio.com website. I'm Susan Hoogie, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.